Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Hey guys, and welcome to Criminality, the podcast where we still don't have an introduction, but where we know loving reality isn't a crime. Rebekah, nice to see you. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. I'm great. Happy to see you and happy you made it. I was, concerned there for a little bit today.
Let me tell you, we did a very fun thing. We are not big adventurous people, but we're like, we could go to the beach overnight. My husband's somebody in his family has a beach condo. That's an easy trip, right? You just stay in their place, leave. So easy. Got up this morning, walked 3 miles on the beach, felt like, the main character in just an amazing story, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just me by myself, really. But but I enjoyed it. So we leave, and as soon as we get off the exit, we live 45 minutes from there. Traffic is stopped.
Oh, no.
It took us almost 5 hours to get home. A 45-minute trip turned into 5 hours.
Oh, that's really bad.
Rebekah, you know what I did right before we got on the exit? I drank an entire Diet Coke.
I mean, you beat me to it. I'm thinking I see like a fountain soda of a large size.
Did you know your bladder can hold 32 ounces of urine? Because I found that out. Driving. I can't imagine how many of us were just peeing in cups on the way. You had no option. You could not get off on an exit.
You were just smushed in many lanes of traffic.
And there's no internet. You can't connect to anything.
Stop.
There's we have no snacks because it's a 45-minute trip. We have like crumbs of chips, and the iPad had a couple things downloaded, but it's only at 20%. So basically I ended up, this is how you know it's going well. I've had to get rid of everything in my body. And then I allowed my kids to say a curse word as many times as they wanted to.
Oh, I
was
love
like,
it.
Who wants to say the D word? They were like, what?
They're like, oh,
it was just that.
This is worse than we thought, Mom.
I know. So they got to say the D word for almost 5 hours. So really, it wasn't terrible for them. It worked out really well, though. And besides that, it was okay. But it was, it's one of those really funny, like, oh my gosh, how did this weekend end up being so great? 24 hours.
Right. Easy. Why don't we do this more? Yeah.
Why don't we always do that? And then I'm not kidding. As soon, and we can't even check the internet to see like what's going on. I'm like texting other people to say, can you look and see what's going on? Because we can't get anything.
Right. You're like there better be a, serious.
I know you don't want anything serious, right?
But I was kind of would for 5 hours traffic. I'm like, they better be recovering a body and solving a crime.
That's what whenever I got home, I'm like, who died?
Yeah.
Like looking through like what's been the holdup? Did Casey Anthony, is she just roaming the streets at this point? What's going on? And I don't know what happened, but
that would cause all of Florida to shut down and
I know.
Stop what they're doing.
It was too much. But anyway, yeah, it's a fun story now, right?
It will be for your kids. I guarantee you they will talk about this day where like mom and dad let us curse on the whole way home, which should have been 40 minutes.
This is terrible. And I was like,
no,
listen,
it's perfect.
What other thing do you have? We've got nothing else.
A bag
now we
of
can
tricks
all say it.
is empty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's really like life-sucking, those traffic moments. Honestly, they like really can dampen such a great getaway. And I mean, when you were texting me about it, I was kind of like, yeah, welcome to the tri-state area. Like, that's just our story. It's just something that should take like 2 miles, takes 25, 30 minutes. It's just what it is. But 45 minutes to 5 hours, that is unique and that is horrific.
Yeah, just there's no option. It was literally to get to the next exit. And, it was just wild. So you're already like, as soon as you get on, you're like, my life's over. This is it.
I'm impressed you showed up and you look fresh as a daisy. So
thank you.
Thanks
I'm
for
impressed
rallying.
I showed up. Yeah, no,
I am too, really.
Good. Yeah, we're good. We're here. I'm so excited.
Oh, me too. I'm like
Right?
edge of my seat. I know what you're doing now. And this is a show I'm actually super interested in learning more about and maybe watching.
Yeah. We'll see what you think.
Well, yes, we will.
Is that a good way to sell a show? We'll see what you think.
Yeah, I think it's an honest way to sell a show.
It is. So the clues last week or 2 weeks ago were Dr. Pepper,
Right.
I think surprise and bar. So
Yes.
surprise is wedding. We're talking married at first sight. Dr. Pepper is a person on the show. We'll get to the bar thing later, but that's kind of where we are. And I did have to tell Rebekah what this was because I needed her to watch a few clips to get the idea of these people. Sometimes you really need to understand them to understand what monsters they are.
Yeah. And you also had to tell me because I would never be able to get it on my own. Like you couldn't wait for me to text and be like, I've got it. Like that moment wasn't happening.
Wasn't going to do that. It was never going to get there. It's been a long week for everybody. I thought I'd phone that one in for you. So we all know at this point in our lives that love is many things, Rebekah. Some say love, it is a river, while others think love is a battlefield. And maybe for a few of us, Usher and his feelings on love in clubs captures things more specifically. I did not know he sang that song about making L in a club, but apparently he is he's a songwriter. So
A poet.
yeah, really. Wherever you fall on the spectrum of love, though, Hollywood is ready and willing to ruin it for you. Take, for example, a little show we're going to be talking about this week, a show by the name of Married at First Sight, or MAFS, as you will see it called on the internet. And it always takes me a minute to be like, what?
Yeah.
This show
Doesn't
that they're doing?
click immediately, but okay.
Right.
That's
Oh, I
helpful.
forgot I can change my Zoom background. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, go there. But if you are, I've got a cool background.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, this week Rebekah sent me the subtle sexuality from The Office, and I remembered it had a wedding scene, so I have my Mindy and my Ellie Kemper in the background. Such a
Iconic
fun
duo.
one.
Yeah, those two, that video.
Right? So
Priceless.
Rebekah, you said that you've never really watched Married at First Sight. Have you seen any episodes, any knowledge coming into this?
None, except for what I watched that you sent me to prepare my daughter. Once again, this is one of her shows. So I hear her and her friends like chit chat about it sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, they're really into it.
I love that. My mom watches this show.
So does
which-
my mom. And my mom and
It's
my daughter
shocking.
talk about it. Yeah.
Oh, whenever they get to certain episodes, I'm like, I'm not talking to mom about anything that happens in this episode. It gets a little too personal. So Married at First Sight is actually in its 13th season in the U.S., but in the last 12 seasons, there have been 44 matches. Do you want to guess how many couples have stayed together during Decision Day?
Out of 44, stay together. I'm going to say 8.
Oh, okay. So 27 stay together on Decision Day. But
Okay.
to date of those, so that's like they're like, hey, what's
Right,
going to
like,
happen? And it's
we're
like the
gonna
Bachelor
try.
finale, right? So of those 27, only 13 are together.
Okay,
at this
so I
point.
was really pessimistic on either side.
By the time this is released, it'll probably be 12 or 11. So
true.
don't be too hard on yourself.
Sit tight.
So making the divorce rate of the show actually 70%.
Woo.
Yeah, the national average is around 50%, but I'm still getting wedding invitations, so it's not really stopping anybody.
Not going anywhere.
No. So I came into the Married at First Sight world, honestly. I actually thought it was a play off of the old one-hit wonder, Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire, right? Same idea. We'll get into the idea, but, it's a surprise kind of thing. But it's actually not. Married at First Sight actually got its start on Danish TV when it was called words in Danish no one expects me to attempt back on September.
Please.
I didn't even put it in there. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it. September 4th, 2013. And so it was a huge hit, and it's now been sold to several countries, including the UK, Australia, and the US. The first airing of Married at First Sight in the US was on July 8th, 2014. Do you want to take any guesses on what the channel it was that it premiered on in the US? If you give this, I'll give you $1 million.
Channel, like network?
Sorry,
because
yes.
it like, okay, just making sure. Okay. Premiered on, and you'll give me $1 million, which means it's super obscure. Was there something called Ovation? I don't know. I don't know.
No, but I'm
digging
surprised
deep.
it wasn't there.
Okay.
It was on FYI. I don't even know if that's still around.
I don't know that I've ever seen anything on FYI.
You remember FYI. So eventually, though, it moves to Lifetime, which is that app that just plays the same freaking repeated ads over and over again and thinks you want to go back 30 minutes when you don't. But it's on Discovery Plus now, so it's a much more
that's where I watched it.
Pleasant experience. Yeah. So the premise of this show is simple enough. It's really these matchmakers, big air quotes on this. They go through hundreds, even thousands of potential candidates looking to match together couples to get married and fall in love and live happily ever after. Easy enough. So yeah, they're just looking at all these different applicants and trying to pair up a few couples to literally get married. Feels important.
Yeah.
Feels like a decision you should think about, but
feels like a reality show to me.
That's exactly what it was. So when they get matched, so once you've gone through this application process, there's, psychology exams, there's all kinds of things supposedly that they go through on you. And once you find out you've been matched with somebody, you have 2 weeks to plan your wedding with no help from this new partner and no knowledge of who this person's going to be. You don't have a name. You don't have their occupation. You don't have their favorite color. You've got nothing.
Wait, this is a lot of women's dream, actually. To plan their wedding with no input from the person they're marrying.
True. Now, that part I would absolutely agree with. It's just the not knowing. It's the marriage, really, that's the issue there.
The person
not the
on the
wedding.
other end of the aisle that you can't, like the one detail that you just can't quite plan.
It's little.
Yeah.
You can figure it out later.
Yeah.
Now, for the one positive thing I will say about this show is the couples are paired together that live in the same area. So it's not like The Bachelor or some shows. There was one crazy show I watched when I had a fever, and I don't even remember it. I have to give myself an excuse on that one. It was like not Dating After Dark. It was an MTV one. But they would be like, I'm from California and he's from Australia. We're going to be together forever. And I'm like, you idiot. You need a K-1 visa. This is never going to happen. Just bang it out and go on with your lives. This is over. So I probably needed sleep before I did this one. So at least on on Married at First Sight, they do all this stuff with people in the same town. So you've had Philadelphia, you've had Washington, D.C., you've had San Diego. So location isn't really an issue because they're all, and you're going to see people, they're going to know all the same things. Sometimes they have mutual friends. Sometimes they even know each other. A couple seasons ago, Amelia wore a bird on her head for her wedding. And he wanted to wear something crazy. And they were like, don't do that. And then she comes out with a bird. And I was like, well, he could have worn whatever the heck he wanted to. Multiple birds, I think, even.
They sound like a match made in heaven. They've got to be one of the 12 that are still together.
They made it. Yes,
See?
they did. They did.
Put a bird on it.
Yes. I love Portlandia. Thank you for doing that. Go figure. So, so they've been together. But back to Married at First Sight. The couples meet face-to-face at the altar. They don't know their name. They don't know their family. They don't know anything.
It's like, it's very stressful.
It's very stressful and uncomfortable, I think, to even watch. Go ahead.
Is there another show that's really similar that's not called Married at First Sight? Is it Love at First Sight or no? Is it? Because now I actually think I've seen more than you've sent me. It must be like on in my house. Like I have seen the moment. I think I've stopped and I've heard she's never, seen, like they're seeing each other for the first time. So it's like that reaction at a wedding.
The reveal,
but
yes.
Because it's a reveal. Okay. So I have seen a little more. I still can't believe this, though.
It's a little like, what was that show with the guy that was married to Heather, why can't I think of their last name? Heather, O.C.
Oh,
the old one, Swan,
wait, who?
Ugly Swan? I feel like we might be thinking of two different things. Okay, Heather on the OC. What is her last name? Why can't I remember her last name? Terry and Heather Dubrow.
Oh, Dubrow. Oh my gosh. I forgot all about Heather. Something about just hearing Heather.
I know.
On its own.
I was getting
really out of context. Yeah, he has that show. Is it called Ugly Swan? That's terrible.
No, it used to be. He used to be on another one called The Swan, which was unattractive people, not my words, theirs.
Well, you did say ugly, though. You said Ugly Swan. Well, so it kind of was your word.
That was before I had a second to think it through. Swan people, they came out and they wanted plastic surgery.
I understand.
And they had they were gone for like months. They didn't have mirrors. Do you remember this show?
No.
And they had full plastic surgery, boobs, face, everything, and would come out and see themselves for the first time.
Oh, I was going to say, is that still active?
No, I think we finally realized like, oh, this could give people some body issues.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
It did.
So isn't the current rendition of his show with the Beverly Hills doctor?
Botched, I think.
Botched sounds wrong, but maybe that's just because it sounds like Bosch. Yeah, I think it's botched. And it's like they fix previously done surgeries that were not done well, right?
Right.
I think that's
which
what it
means
is.
One of his Swan people are going to come back
They want their money back.
Full circle.
Yes. Okay.
So I don't know where I was. Oh, I was trying to
reveal.
say that's the reveal. It was kind of like that, where it's like you just have no idea what you're about to see. So they walk to the altar. They literally meet each other, which I have to be honest, is one of the most uncomfortable things in the world, to watch two people who are getting married say hello, and like everyone. Just imagine meeting somebody somewhere for the first time and everyone's watching you simply meet somebody, not marry them,
right?
Meet them.
It's too much.
So weird.
It's too much
I don't
for anyone.
This.
No, nobody needs that.
Yeah, and so it's almost more uncomfortable than when they talk about the sex scenes later on. I cannot even take that. But they go through with the ceremony and they are legally married, Rebekah. If you've ever wondered, is this like a hoax? Is this a 7 days and you can return it kind of policy? They are married, legally binding marriages. Fun fact, the only country where marriages don't actually take place in for all the ideations or whatever iterations of this show is Australia. They actually legally are not allowed to get married. So it's basically like a busted version of The Bachelor. It doesn't make any sense.
That's so interesting.
Australia has one season that is insane. Like, people told me to watch it and I could only watch a few, but like the guy was cheating on the girl, maybe with somebody else. It was wild. But definitely watch it.
There's no financial incentive, is there?
There is technically no financial anything. So you get your wedding paid for and you get your honeymoon paid for. In Australia, they made $150 a day. And I did read something that said in the U.S. they get something, but similar to jury duty, it's not going to be worth
it's a stipend.
What you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. I had that word written down, but I've only really read it and I wasn't sure how to say it. So I appreciate you. You know, one of those words where you're like,
you're like, I've read that, but I don't think it's not something we say very often.
No. And thank you so much for saying it for me. I did learn, though, that they all sign prenups ahead of time. So whatever you come into your marriage with, you leave with.
Well, that's smart. I am glad that's in place.
Except you might not leave with your dignity, but you can't do anything about that. There's no contract for that. And so before you think this is really just set up for failure, not so fast. According to a recent brides.com article from 2020, quote, it's estimated over half of the marriages worldwide are arranged and that over 20 million of those unions exist in the world today. A surprising fact, given that we almost never hear about arranged marriages unless we're discussing their famously low divorce rates. In the U.S., while the divorce rate hovers around 40 or 50%, the divorce rate for arranged marriages is 4%. In India, where some estimate that 90% of marriages are arranged, the divorce rate is only 1%.
Wow.
So you can see how an arranged marriage of sorts, the success is in the numbers, right? Statistically, they do quite well. Whether those are, people that aren't able to leave the situation, don't want to leave the situation, it doesn't take into account of that. But statistically, it's a higher number.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking about Well, I mean, arranged marriages happen. This is that televised.
And for our entertainment.
And for our entertainment. Yeah.
It does take a whole different thing whenever you're like, oh, and then I get to watch it. So
Definitely.
Back to Married at First Sight US. On the first season, we have 3 couples that meet at the altar. Some were pleasantly surprised at how attractive they found their spouse. And then there were Jamie and Doug. And I'm going to send you this clip now because I needed to see your live reaction for this.
This is the worst feeling. Obviously, I wasn't like, what a knockout, you know? I just...
I'm Doug.
Oh, I'm Jamie.
Jamie Otis.
Yes.
Meet Doug Hayner.
Hi.
We are here today because Doug and Jamie have pledged to commit themselves to each other in marriage. Jamie and Doug, there are no obligations on earth more sweet or tender than those you are about to make. Lead with your hearts and take time to do the simple things that nurture your love. Visit the ocean, spend time with each other's siblings, cook meals together. Jamie, don't worry, you can just watch. Doug loves to cook.
Okay,
I couldn't help but look at his family because they were like beaming with huge smiles looking at me, and I just happened to be not attracted to the guy.
But a successful marriage doesn't just happen. It takes time.
She was freaking out, and it seems like she doesn't know what's going on, and it was a tense moment.
Do you, Doug Hayner, take Jamie Otis to be your wife? Do you promise to walk by her side forever and to love, help, and encourage her in all she does? Do you promise to take time to talk with her, to listen to her, and to care for her?
And cook.
Will you share her laughter and her tears as her partner, lover, and best friend? Do you take Jamie Otis as your lawfully wedded wife for now and forevermore?
I do.
Do you, Jamie Otis, promise to walk by his side forever and to love, help, and encourage him in all that he does? Do you promise to take time to talk with him, to listen to him, and to care for him? Will you share his laughter and his tears as his partner, lover, and best friend? Do you take Doug Hayner as your lawfully wedded husband for now and forevermore?
I'm getting married right now to someone I don't know. I'm thinking I just made the worst decision of my life. I'm sorry. I am so scared.
Have you ever had that moment when you're leaving the house and you wonder, did I lock the door? Or worse yet, you start spiraling and you imagine all the what ifs. I used to feel that way all the time, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I heard about a break-in just a few blocks away that I realized I needed to really step up my home security game. And now I can spiral about the what ifs on things that don't matter, like reality stars, instead of the what ifs of home security. We've had SimpliSafe protecting our house for the last few years now, and it's a total game changer. With SimpliSafe's Fast Protect monitoring, I know within 5 seconds if something's actually up, and the lifeguards can actually speak to intruders to stop them. That's faster than a reality TV star can throw a drink. One of the things I really love the most is you're not locked into some over-the-top 90-day fiancé level contract drama. SimpliSafe is actually affordable as well, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, so it's easy to love. It's no wonder they've been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. Whether you want to install it yourself, it really takes less than an hour, or have a professional handle it, SimpliSafe is as easy as flipping channels between Chimp Crazy and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So why wait for the drama to happen? Get SimpliSafe and know your home is covered just like I did. Protect your home with 50% off a new SimpliSafe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/criminality. That's simplysafe.com/criminality. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
This episode is sponsored by AutoTrader. There's a good chance you're driving right now. Look around. Safely. What do you see? Cars. Lots of them. And guess what? They're probably on AutoTrader. Whether you're into timeless classics or the latest trends. Did somebody say solar-powered, eco-friendly, vegan, leather-wrapped, aromatherapy-scented, disco ball-equipped, self-driving car? If you see it on the road, you can likely find it on AutoTrader. Big cars, small cars, blue cars, new cars, used cars, electric cars, and one day, maybe even flying cars. With millions to choose from, buying a car becomes a whole lot easier. See it, find it, AutoTrader. Find your next car on autotrader.com.
Oh my gosh.
Thoughts, Rebekah?
I don't know who to feel worse for in that situation. She's clearly like, this isn't who I was imagining. Right. Have you seen me? Like, why'd you put me? Like, she was definitely...
She's an 11.
Yeah, she was like, this is not a match. And so I feel terrible for him because, like, that's visceral. You can pick up on someone who's disappointed in your physical self, but then he sounds like a freaking serial killer. He's like, I'll cook. It was so creepy. So then I'm like, run, Jamie, run.
I know.
I don't know what her name was.
No, it's Jamie.
It was a Jamie. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. I think this could really just be really hurtful for people. I don't like it. It could be.
Yeah, I agree with you. She was actually on The Bachelor. Is that surprising to you or no?
Not at all. In fact, what went through my mind that I didn't say because I thought it was rude is this like a Bachelor reject? Like, was she just wanting to do this to get married and wanted the guy to be super good looking? But here you go. She was.
Yeah. Well, I've got some news for you, Rebekah. These two are actually one of the biggest success stories in Married at First Sight history.
Edit. I take it all back. Jamie and Doug, I wish you a life of happiness and blessings.
Here's the thing. She's a lot. Everyone knows that if you follow her Instagram. You know the people that have the dots on the top of their Instagram, like videos?
Yes, but Melissa, I'm still recovering.
No.
I'm still recovering.
It's so much.
That they're together. I didn't even think she was going to say yes at the altar.
2 kids. They are literally the success of this entire show. And for good reason. You can see that she grew in attraction to him. She grew in love with him. They are actually a pretty good couple. It is. And that's who the thing is, that's who they always look for whenever the experts are like, when somebody's like, I'm not really into this person, they're like, but you remember, it's happened before, which to me is gross because sure, it does happen before, but they're the exception. They are not the rule at all. Like, he was a very, very nice guy, incredibly nice. She had a very traumatic childhood, so it worked for other reasons, basically, other than like my bang.
How many different ways is Melissa going to say sex over the course of this podcast?
I'm not going to actually say the letters. I'll tell you that much.
I know that for sure. Just one quick thing I want to say about Doug, since I called him a serial killer. He's not unattractive. It's his hair only. Like,
it's 100% his hair.
He's got a nice face with kind eyes. I just want to say that.
He's one of the, some people don't look good in tuxes. I don't think, like, he's just not a tux person. And I think in everyday clothes that helps. Like, I
think he's one of those guys that's going to be like Matt Lauer, like instantly looks better bald, like shave the hair.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Bad example, because Matt Lauer's trash, but
yeah, well, we know it's okay. His hair was too. Yeah. So, exactly. So anyway, they are like, she actually hosts all like the after shows.
Okay.
She's a lot, but they're the big like winners in this whole thing, right?
Wow, it's really interesting.
I know. Yeah, I'm so excited that got you. I thought you would absolutely not catch on to that. So the show, though, is like all about this, right? This matchmaking and taking the things that you want or even that you need and matching you with somebody that's compatible to you, right? So we've got experts throughout the years. One of the experts is Dr. Pepper Schwartz, who is the size of a Dr. Pepper can. She's just this tiny lady, a sexologist, and she's basically the OG on the show, Dr. Pepper Schwartz. Why doesn't she have people call her Dr. Schwartz? I don't know, but she goes by Dr.
I would go by Dr. Pepper too, and I hope she has a book.
Oh, I think she has several books.
Yeah,
she should.
She just needs a whole brand. I'm just into her.
Please don't read her books. Okay, another one we have is Dr. Cal. Dr. Cal is, or actually Pastor Cal rather. He's the marriage coach and relationship expert. You've seen him?
I saw him on the clips you sent.
Okay, yeah. I like him for the most part. Sometimes I feel like he's way off, but sometimes he will give it to the person he's talking to when they need it.
Yeah.
There's been others, including Dr. Jessica, who actually she's engaged now. She ended up being engaged to one of the guys who was married on this show on this season that she worked on.
That's a scandal. That's a scandal.
It ended up not being a scandal. They literally had her film like Married at First Sight honeymoon people or something. I know that's not the name of the show, but it was like couples rejects on another thing after this happened. And then she was off after that. But they're engaged and have like a relationship brand now.
Okay, so once again, retracted and redacted. I say mazel tov to them. I guess it happened kosher and like off the show. Like it didn't happen like she didn't like steal him, you know.
No, but she never seemed to like his wife, so
so maybe she didn't do her best work with them.
Maybe, allegedly. Yeah, and then the new one that we have really the last couple seasons is Dr. Viviana, and she is fine. Okay. There's just nothing really going on there. I mean, there's a lot going on. She's a very smart lady, but she doesn't irk me, and I don't love her. It's just she is what she is.
I don't love those doctors using their first names. They should use their last. Only Dr. Pepper should get to be called.
You're a Dr. Pepper apologist. I had no idea.
I never met her, and yet here I stand.
You would stand this kind of can woman. Okay, so there's been a lot of toxic couples on this show. So many toxic couples on this show, as you can imagine. And we're going to discuss one in particular. Okay. But before we do, Rebekah, I want to give you a small list of names that have been on the show that while you might not know them, your daughter will have a visceral reaction when she hears these names. Okay. Her heart rate through the roof. Okay. This is the cardio that everyone who's watched the show, you can skip it today. First one, Luke and Kate. Luke was a gaslighter like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, man,
they are
scary.
Matched in Philadelphia, and here's things he says to her off camera. One thing he said is, after kissing you, I felt dead. That's something you want to hear from your new husband. Another one was that he was repulsed after having sex with her.
Oh
repulsed.
My gosh.
Isn't that awful?
It's beyond. It's beyond. You can remove yourself from a relationship and never have to say that.
Right? It doesn't make any sense. And they felt bad for her because she really was trying in this relationship, and he was saying these things and she didn't say them for a long time, like trying to defend him and hoping this would work out. And they were basically at the end like, please end this. Like, you need to end this. This is not good.
Oh my gosh.
She later said that she only stayed because she thought she would be fined $100,000 for leaving, but there's never been anyone that backs that up. I'm sure there's some kind of penalty, but I don't think they're going to charge you $100,000 to stay in a toxic relationship.
I wonder where she got that idea. That's awful.
I don't know. Dr. Viviana, she's one that said that it was not a true claim, but who knows? It's a lot to put yourself through this process and then for it to not work out. So next one, Matt and Amber. Amber's this middle school teacher who falls hard for Matt, who's this basketball player. He plays mostly overseas. He's like, if the book He's Not That Into You was a person, it would be him.
Ew. Also, Matt and Amber, isn't that the other show couple? Barnett, but his name's Matthew. His name's Matt.
Yeah, and Teen Mom, there was an Amber and Matt.
Oh,
man, those are
interesting.
Toxic couples.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oil and water or something. I'm not sure.
And vinegar. Well, that's pretty good, actually.
That's just salad dressing.
He was just awful and would like abandon her all the time. And I want to say her mom left when she was little. So it was like the worst. But you just think like, how did they put these two people together? This was never going to be a good match. I'll give you one last one. Chris and Paige. Chris, I guarantee your daughters talked about him. Chris and Paige, he is the biggest slime that's ever been on this show. He comes on the show 6 months after he's been engaged, which, first of all, why are they having somebody who wants to get married 6 months after they end their engagement?
I'm starting to think these producers maybe want, like, good TV, not necessarily good marriages.
Oh, no. This one is... So anyway, he tells Paige, once again, we're dealing with this, that he's not attracted to her. But then he sleeps with her to see if that will help things along.
Ew.
Yeah, he's the worst. So then they're both very religious. And so Paige is like, I can't leave this marriage. I'm going to stay in this marriage because, I made this commitment, so I have to. And you get those people a lot where you're like, please, it's okay. Like, you didn't know you were going to be matched with this monster.
Right.
So anyway, they're on their honeymoon and he has to tell her that his ex-girlfriend is pregnant. So now she's married to him. He's having a baby. And by the way, he's going to buy his new baby mama, ex-fiance, a Mercedes because he wants the mother of his child to ride around in something nice. But he's not attracted to her. but he hopes he will be.
This poor woman, both of them, honestly.
I know. Well, but they've had these kind of people on the show where you're just so upset and you're wondering, you know, how did these pairings happen and how did people get through this process? He should have never gotten through the process. He was very clearly the worst. Just when you met him, you were like, I don't like that guy.
Bad feeling.
But yeah, absolutely.
But they want drama and like good TV, which is bad, you know, real life relational situations for these people. Don't you think?
I mean, there's people whose segments I skipped because honestly, they were too boring. They just got along too well. I don't want to watch that. I'm not wasting my time on that.
Exactly.
So, Rebekah, I'm sure you're exhausted by all these people, but the story I want to talk to you about today is one of these couples who I consider to be just a toxic one that ended in divorce, but not before obtaining restraining orders against one another.
That's what I'm here for, Melissa.
Oh, young love. But how did we get here? Oh, Grasshopper, let me tell you. Season 10 takes place around Washington, D.C. It's beautiful. We've talked about this area. I went there twice because of a rural electric company and Julia Roberts. And this is the story of Taylor Dunklin and Brandon Reed. So we meet these two, very excited, very happy, delusional. They have no idea what's in store for them.
Yeah.
Brandon is 33 years old and he's in beer sales. He describes himself as being a very social person, which never quite got that
vibe. Yeah.
He tells his family he's going to be on the show. You always see those kind of introductions where they go back to tell their family, by the way, I'm picked and I'm getting married in 2 weeks. His grandmother, not down with this. And one weird thing that Married at First Sight does is they give you a nickname like Mr. Right, Mr. Not Right Now, Mrs.
I noticed that.
It's gross.
I noticed that.
So his is Mr. Never + 1. I mean, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah.
I don't care that you don't have anybody.
It's like, stop trying to make that a thing.
Yeah. Everything. They get really weird with them. Yeah. So then we meet Taylor. She is beautiful. They call her Miss Beauty and Brains, which
she is.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
agree.
She's very pretty. Seems very smart and like articulate.
Yeah. I like her. There's some things she did that I was like, come on, girl. But overall, I thought she was a solid person. She is a research scientist at Johns Hopkins University.
Excuse me.
I know. She also hosts events for a bourbon company and drives for Uber and Lyft. She's
busy.
All about the money. I mean, no, she's not really all about the money, but she's making money. She likes to travel.
Really hard, yeah.
She is. She's by herself. She could do what she wants.
Yeah.
So they, like I said, they were telling their families they're getting married in less than 2 weeks. And Brandon's, talking to the camera saying how important family is to him. He wants a family. His dad was never a part of his life. And on the day of the wedding, sometimes these couples do this, and sometimes it's sweet, and sometimes it's, I wonder if it's a production thing. He writes a card to his new wife, which would be very nice. You're not supposed to see your spouse on the day of, and if you've never met them, definitely not supposed to. But really, the groomsmen write the whole thing. So if you watch this scene, he's just kind of like, yeah, what should I write? And they're like telling him, and he's just writing it down. It doesn't seem like any of it's coming from him. It's all very manufactured and literally out of somebody else's voice. Mm-hmm. So he talks about having a lot of anxiety and says that he gets panic attacks. That's a very big theme throughout this, unfortunately. The wedding's set to start. They're both super happy when they get to see each other. She even turns to everyone in the audience and says, he looks good, which for an ego, that's... And I wanted to be like, no, you look good, Taylor. You look good.
Yeah, but I'm sure she was just relieved that it, Doug didn't show up. Yeah, that she didn't have that reaction. I mean, this couple they're a good looking couple.
They really are. They are.
Or were. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Although I think I already said they got divorced, so buried the lead there at the beginning.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's okay. You don't want these two to make it.
Okay.
So one interesting thing, though, that they do at these Married at First Sight weddings is, number one, they introduce themselves at the altar. And number two, the person that's actually doing this service reads a little to the person at the altar. So they say, like, my family member wants you to know, or their family member wants you to know this, this, and this. So it gives you a little bit about their personality, right?
Both parties have that?
Both parties, yeah. So it's kind of... I don't know. It's helpful, I think.
Yeah,
'cause
sure.
You do learn a lot because
Context.
it's like, yeah, they're family members, normally pretty honest. So when they talk about Brandon, they say, you know, Brandon's family wants you to know that Brandon's very blunt and he doesn't filter his words, which is always a little like too honest. Like, I want to know they like to laugh at movies. They like to dance in the rain. They like to
a fun
pick
fact.
up dogs.
This sounds like a warning.
This is a warning. And then the next one is he is not a perfect person. And he's like, I'm not perfect. I'm really not. And even his mom, they cut to his mom nodding in the audience.
Oh, shoot. Because you know there's some moms in denials about their son who are like, my son, he is perfect. So if your mom is saying that at your wedding day, girl, run.
Then this is a really weird thing. He takes out his vows. So sometimes they'll read the traditional vows and sometimes they'll write their own vows.
Okay.
I don't understand writing them in this situation. It seems even more.
Not a lot to draw from.
Right. Well, he apparently thought you could. He said, from the moment I first saw you, I knew I wanted to be with you. And that was just a few minutes ago. So you're telling me you wrote that and read that? What?
Or did he? Yeah. So you either, that's just, I hate it. It's like, what if he wrote it? He's like, I'm only going to read this if it's true. Like, I'll take it out. I mean, which I guess would be really honest, but like either way, that's just a terrible vow for the situation. It's like, read the room, the context of this marriage and wedding. Like, it doesn't work.
No, not at all. And so the wedding's over. They talk for a little bit before they like go to their wedding party. He is a little awkward. She says he's a little awkward. It's a lot of, yeah, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, cool, cool. That's all it is. It's okay. It would make me crazy. But they seem like a decent enough match. They have enough in common. She's in whatever bourbon sales. He's in beer sales. There's like some commonality there, family stuff, different things like that. So then we get to the awkward part of them going to the hotel together, and the couples say they talk all night, and then the next day they're going to Panama, the country of Panama. And I say that because I'm from a place with Panama City, and that's what we would call it.
Noted.
So in the early seasons, when they went on these honeymoons, one would go to Virginia, one would go to Mexico, one would go wherever. But the later seasons, the couples all go together. So all 6 couples this season all go to Panama.
Interesting.
They fly together, they hang out together, and even when they come back, they all live in the same apartment building. So years before, it'd be like, you could move in this person's house, or they could move in your house, or they would make those decisions, or finding a neutral place. But now they just always move into this apartment building, which
I kind of like works. The new place together jointly is probably takes away some like issues. Also, what if you're vacationing with the other couples and you're like, I wish I'd got put in that.
I think that all the time. There's been some couples that I'm like, if Henry would have just gotten matched with Olivia, he would not be dealing with this crap with Christina.
I think that'd be very tricky for me. I'd be looking around like, did I get the best situation? Okay, keep going. I'm just being honest.
No, 100%. And there are some lookers in this season too. So obviously this is done for more drama, right? They're all traveling together. So they get all these other conversations. They say it's because they only know, these are the people that know the situation they're in. Okay, sure.
I mean, it is like a shared, it's like a commonality that not anyone else has. So I'm sure there's some comfort in it in a weird way. Like processing that with everybody must be kind of like fun and maybe a little more relaxed because it's a group and less pressure.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. I'm just a terrible person that's like, ratings. I know it's for ratings.
For sure. Obviously, yes.
Yeah. So Taylor and Brandon seem to be doing okay first couple days. But then we get to day 3 and it's nighttime. And if you haven't seen them on the day 3 festivities, like going and doing things, and we're only seeing them at night, something's gone wrong.
Okay.
So apparently they have this dinner and they're saying, he's like, well, you know why I'm upset. And she's like, well, I don't really get it. You woke up and you were snoring and I videotaped you. And I just thought it was funny that you were snoring. Well, he says, that isn't what happened, Taylor. I didn't know what you were doing. I got scared. I got anxious. I started breathing heavy. I was having a panic attack. And she was saying like, you didn't seem like panicked. You seemed mad. Like he was embarrassed is what she took it as.
Yeah.
The truth is probably somewhere in the middle between these two. And that's how I feel with everything that they go through, that you feel like there's definitely truths in each of it, but we're not getting the straight story from either one of them, I don't think. So at this point, they're, kind of on thin ice. He says one thing that absolutely would make me crazy if my spouse partner said to me, I apologized 1,000 times, get over it.
Oh.
Fighting words. Those are fighting words. Because now I need an apology for that, because don't ever do that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Not loving him.
No, not loving the him at all. I want that on a shirt. Not loving the him.
All of the hymns.
Not loving the him. Okay, and so basically this sets the tone for the rest of their marriage. But we're still on the honeymoon, so buckle up. So day 4 or 5, Taylor's like taking pictures of her food. The food looks cute, and she's like, do you like doing that? And he says, well, sometimes I do, but like you have a big social media following, and I normally don't mess with females that have a lot of social media friends. And she's like, well, I don't think it's that big. I have 13,000 followers. Which is big, Taylor, by the way.
Yeah, that's a healthy following.
It's a healthy following. And she's just saying, like, it's how I connect with people. And she's just very much, she really enjoys social media. She has no problem telling you that. She loves it.
She doesn't have to, like, answer about that either. I mean, I watched this clip that you sent me. I thought it was, like, a very generous response, frankly, to his, like, issue.
He was trying to make her feel bad. That was the whole thing.
Yeah,
he was trying to make her feel like a crappy person because she is popular on Instagram and nobody cares to see what he's doing over there. Right. Again, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. He just grates on my last nerve.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Instagram probably does suck.
Yeah. So there.
Yeah.
So day 7, we're still in Panama. And this scene starts with Brandon asking the producer when the food's going to be there. And as we know, as reality TV show watchers, anytime that fourth wall is broken, it's going to be good. So Brandon is just being so rude, so condescending. Did I send you this clip where he's just...
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Like a diva.
Absolutely like a diva.
But like an angry diva.
Right? Like very angry. Like these people are working with you. They're having to follow you. And he just... doesn't want, he's saying, I just want a minute. I want to do this. I want to go to the bar. And they're like, well, if you go down there, we have to follow you. Like,
right.
That's our job.
Yeah. This is what you signed up for.
This is what you signed up for. And I feel like he never really connected with that. Like, if you are as anxious as he says he is, I'm not saying that he's not, this might not be the way to go, to have something taped of your life this personal where you're going to have to talk and be on TV and all those things. It's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea for the like sanest of us to go under those circumstances.
But also the experts should have known that too, that he's going to be a high anxiety in this.
If they knew that he had panic attacks and knew that part of his like story, I think it was pretty irresponsible of them to choose him. And so
at some point, he's trying to go downstairs and he literally stands in the elevator. You saw this, and he's pushing the door open, right, with the production and just not letting them go. And he has that angry smile on his face.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
I sure do. It's a very scary tactic.
It is. It's not a good look. So Taylor's in the room, though, and she's talking to them very calmly and saying, he's been doing this. This is, he throws his ring, says he doesn't want to be married. After she says, like, if you're acting like this isn't the kind of person I want to be married to. Which is fair, I think. Very fair in this situation. But I can see where somebody would be upset since they're already married. But come on, bud. Just stop. I just not a fan. So he's gone. She has to pack up their whole room, the passport, the rings. So that is infuriating. And they're all going to be going to the airport together, right? So she's packing all their stuff. Now she has to be around all these people. So you've already got that stressor where you're like, I don't like this guy. I'm trying to make it work. You guys don't even like this guy because he's pretty much a jerk.
Yeah, no one likes this guy.
No, and so he's yelling and screaming, F you, Taylor. Everybody else is like on the bus with their like husband, wife hats and, their little booty shorts with groom on them and stuff. Just nonsense. And these two, he is screaming and yelling at her, at production. It's so gross.
Yeah, he's got no fans at this point. No one's like gonna back him up.
No. Well, Michael does on that season, but Michael is also the worst and he is a habitual liar. And I'm not saying that they say that he lies all the time on there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when they get back, the experts actually finally get involved a little, and Taylor talks to Pastor Cal and says what we've been seeing. And Brandon's sitting with him, and he's like, it's just really hard for me. This is a new level of vulnerability. Okay. He's a reserved guy. He's not trying to be a jerk. He wants to be himself. But you know what, Rebekah? If you're not Team Brandon, you got to go.
Wait, Brandon said that?
Yeah. If you're not Team Brandon, you got to go.
Okay.
I know. Didn't get any better. Do you like him now?
No, there's no changing. And I would be like, you're right, I do.
Yeah. Bye-bye. So Dr. Cal is basically, or Pastor Cal, I wrote Dr. Cal in all my notes, is saying like, hey, it's not a Team Brandon thing. You're on a team. It's an equal partnership. And so he apologizes to Taylor again, but you can tell she's like not super into this. So no, at this point that they move in together. So they're still trying the experiment. They call it the experiment all the time. Some couples never even move in together. Mindy and Zach.
I'm not surprised.
She was the worst. Or he was the worst, rather. So in what ends up being a weird turn, we see Brandon leave his keys, take his stuff, and walk out of the apartment. And so Dr. Viviana calls Taylor and is like, I just saw an Instagram story, and what are you thinking? She posts this Instagram story that's like, why is it so hard to find a man that's 6'3", has a job, and it has the eggplant emoji on there? I'm not entirely sure what that one means, but
you're not?
It's vegetarian, and he's a vegetarian. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Probably.
Like parm, I don't know. Eggplant parm. So anyway, so she's like, this is so disrespectful that you're posting this when you're married. That's like a single person, and I think that social media is really like Taylor's outlet, and I think that was her way of kind of getting out. What I secretly think is that the producers were pissed that she's on this show. Yeah. Members in her circle know that she's gotten married, and she's putting it out there that they're having problems.
Yeah. You mean in terms of like the production value of the show and like the timing?
Yeah. And so like there's a spoiler right there, right? They're not together if she's doing this kind of stuff. So they just lay into her, though. The experts are saying, that it was very passive aggressive, and it was. It was
it's immature.
It's super immature.
Yeah.
But she's also 27, and as a 38-year-old, I feel confident saying it with like a nod, like young girl. No, but you know what I mean. He's 33. It's a little bit different. There is an age difference there. Shouldn't have done it, but he's been a monster, so I don't really feel that bad.
Oh, she was pushed to her breaking point, it sounds like.
Absolutely. So we're at day 24, and the couple sit down with Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper goes off about this Instagram story again. He talks about how disrespected he was. He, then like he's just like, I'm over it. And he tells the production, he's like, get my mic off. Never a please out of this man.
Yeah,
Never a please. And so, whenever people say like how you treat a waiter is how you, somebody treats other people, this guy would not tip, would somehow deduct money from his thing, terrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
horrifying. I mean, I really wouldn't want to be anywhere with him.
No, truly nowhere. So anyway, the last real big thing that happens before the end of the show is they go on this couples trip. Of course, they're not a couple anymore, but all the couples are going, and they're contractually obligated to do a certain number of things, or maybe they get paid for certain things. I don't know.
Right.
They both go. He says, I've got to be back in DC by a certain time to production. Production apparently isn't able to make it happen. Mm-hmm. There's no real proof that they didn't make it happen, but he definitely acted like they didn't. He locks himself in the SUV. It's like, I'm not leaving. You guys need to get me out of here. Same aggressive behavior we see the whole time.
Yeah.
Monster, Rebekah. Just monster. So then we see him walking down the road with his backpack, I guess walking back to Washington, D.C. Doesn't really, I don't know if Uber. Oh, you know what? Taylor could have given him a ride if he was a little nicer to her.
Exactly. That backfired in one connection.
Yeah. So now we're at decision day. And Rebekah, do you know what decision day is?
Well, I'm
if you had
guessing
to guess based on just the name.
I'm not good at these clues games, but my gut tells me it's the day they decide if they're going to move forward together in their marriage or divorce.
Yeah, decision day. That's all it is. So they're just making their decision. So they end up showing clips from the show. Well, Brandon's not looking like he's in a good light, and he's yelling at production and, basically just Brandon being Brandon. And so they note when the couples actually weren't together, Brandon and Taylor continued to see each other, just not on camera, which was kind of interesting. You'd see these night shots of them, and she was saying he would be really kind and stuff, but the cameras made things worse, which I thought was kind of interesting that she was still interesting into him. So they're sitting down with these experts. Brandon's mad about this whole couples trip. He said, the only reason I came today is because I said production had to apologize to me, and I'm here, so they apologized to me. Like a big fat baby. It just
this is the meeting on the couch, right, with the three professionals.
Oh, you saw this. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, he really was. He came late.
It was that fake angry smile.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's scarier than actual yelling anger. I think it's terrifying.
Yeah. And so he ends up getting up in the middle of it and saying, what did he say? He's like, I'm sorry. I hold that thought. I have to go to the bathroom. Which, sir, grab a 32-ounce cup and do what you have to do.
Ask Melissa about holding it until something needs to be done. Come on, dude. You could wait 20 minutes.
If I can get a McDonald's cup, you can get one. You can finish this interview.
Exactly.
So anyway, he comes back after going to the bathroom, and everybody's angry at this point. And she very nicely says, I want a divorce. That's her decision.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm over it. I'm all over all this. Leaves, flees, good riddance.
Yeah.
So the next time we see them, they are at the reunion. Well, Taylor's at the reunion. Brandon is not there because legally they could not be in the same room together. Would you like to know why, Rebekah?
I sure would. Who did what?
Who did what indeed? So I say that all the time. I'm like, da, 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 da. I have the same beat to everything I say. So according to this filing that Brandon made, that they read on the show, it said, quote, she showed up to my local restaurant with another man, pushed me, and then called the cops to state that I had assaulted her. We both ended up going to jail that night since there was no evidence to support either of our claims that either one of us was the aggressor. I have photos to support her aggressive behavior that night, end quote.
What? Were there no witnesses? I need to know what really happened.
It's a bar. There was a million witnesses. So Taylor's at the reunion, and she's saying, I go to this restaurant. Yes, Brandon used to work there. He worked there a while ago. He said he hated it. I'm there with a neighbor friend. Mm-hmm. The neighbor and I are next door, and the neighbor says, hey, what else is around here? And she said, next door at this bar, there's this rooftop. It's really pretty. Do you want to go there? He agrees. So they go next door to this place Brandon used to work at. And she said she wanted to get some water. They were leaving. And she ended up getting water there because, according to her, they have free water. And so she, real quote, she goes to get water, gets a napkin, her water spills, and then that's when she turns and sees Brandon speaking to her guy friend. So she tells her friend, we've got to leave. This isn't good. Brandon starts following her. This is all according to her. She goes to the stairs. He pulls out the camera and is like, I got you, B. I got you, B. And she's, not Beyonce, the other word. And saying, she was like, I was going to try to stop him. I wanted to stop him. Stop. You have to leave me alone. And that's when police are called. And she said, well, I really wanted to talk to police anyway because I wanted to talk to them about getting a protective order. There's no proof they were talking before any of this. It was over. So because they couldn't decide who the aggressor was in this, and listen, I wrote Rebekah this week, could not find this protective order, went on all the websites everywhere. You can't find it. I could find their annulment, but I couldn't find their
so weird.
Find
I wonder
their
if it's a DC
report.
Thing. I don't know.
I know. I went to different counties. But I could find their annulment, and that's right. Their marriage was annulled, though. Only on this season was anybody able to get annulled, because in different states there's different laws, and
the time period was different, and so that's good.
It is
to have an annulment over a divorce. Yeah. That's one. It's the only
place where that's happened.
Okay,
that's it.
Okay, so you couldn't find the records, and so they both went to jail?
Yeah. They both went to jail one night. And then they were released, and then they have protective orders against each other where they couldn't be within, I think, 500 yards of each other. That's where it kind of ends. And here's the thing. I got stuck in the story when I gave the clues last week, so I apologize. There's not more information. But that's really, I mean, that's all that's available. Their whole story, though, is just like leading up to this, really. Like, you knew that these two were so oil and vinegar that this was just going to eventually, something was going to happen.
Yeah. I was going to say a salad was going to get tossed, but no,
Rebekah.
No. Sorry, I've been watching too much Potomac.
Need to learn what that means.
I know what that means. Me and Karen both know. Thankfully, we didn't have to have that happen. But that is what I was thinking this whole episode. I'm just like, oh God, this is escalating, because it always escalates.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And frankly, I'm surprised nothing like this has happened before. I mean, I think what this reveals is also like it's very unpredictable what can happen to someone when cameras go on them, and you can sign up for something and think you know what that means. And I'm not diminishing Brandon's actions. He sounds like a pretty terrible person, but it could like heighten some awkwardness or weird behavior. Yeah. And if you don't see that coming, that could really be a disaster. So I'm surprised there's not more like, fights.
Oh, I'm honestly
been?
Surprised at this point. We haven't had a murder, and I'm not joking.
No, I know.
These people, it's such a heightened situation.
Exactly.
And emotions are so big, and cameras are in your face and all that. So I'm kind of surprised. There has been another arrest, and I wanted to tie it into there, but it was a little too difficult to do. But it had nothing to do with, it was something before they got married that.
Oh, okay.
There was there was an arrest going to the honeymoon where somebody got arrested, getting ready to get on the plane.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. But Rebekah, I want you to know that, true love can exist.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it when my bottle of 138 water looks at me. So if you're looking for true love yourself, though, guys, it's out there, possibly in San Diego, where the latest version of Married at First Sight is now scouting. So good luck.
Take heart, people. It's possible. Yeah, it's really, really interesting to me. I have mixed feelings. I feel like I'm glad you brought up arranged marriages, because I feel like that's, something that still happens. I mean, Jennifer on Jersey had an arranged marriage. Her family's Persian or Turkish, I think.
Turkish.
So I know that that's still a thing. This just feels like such a cheapening of this kind of, I don't know. I don't want to come out as like an advocate for arranged marriage, because I just don't know enough about it. But it is like a very rich historical, cultural thing that exists and works in a lot of parts of the world. Although I think there's probably a lot of people that would say it doesn't work because both parties.
Well, look at Jennifer's mom.
Exactly.
Mom,
exactly. Right. That's like the older generation, just like one generation before Jennifer. It's like it works when it works, and when it doesn't, you do kind of you don't feel like you have options. So I guess I'm just like, it's such a weird concept, this show, because it's obviously people who value marriage and like at least ostensibly are saying they would want this, and that they are really into this for the long-term commitment and they want to find their person. But they're also, it's a reality show, and I always just have to question anyone's motives when they're like looking to do whatever it is in front of the world. So it's really interesting to me.
It is. I will say, for Brandon's defense, he did mention that that at one point Taylor had been, I don't know if this is true, was going to be on Temptation Island, but like her travel dates wouldn't work or something. So, whether that's true or not, or he just wanted to kind of like
jab
her or something that she wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. But
well, it does track with what we find to be true of people on these shows, which is that it's not usually just one show. It's usually a lot of shows.
I know. Yeah, so justice for Jamie and Doug after Rebekah really
dragged their marriage. I had no idea.
Did not think that was going to work. That's love.
If you only watched that aisle moment, would you think that they were still standing?
No. And listen, I went to a church where during these like 2 or 3 years, everyone was like, I was told I was going to marry this person. And so I knew this one girl, and she was like, I knew I was going to marry this guy, but I wasn't attracted to him and blah, blah, blah. And she would say this story in front of this guy. And I was like, I'm glad it worked out for you, but maybe don't say that about him to his face in front of people.
I know. It is interesting, like the idea of attraction and like how it can evolve and change. And also like what sustains a marriage for a long time is not necessarily attraction. But don't say it. Like nobody wants to hear that about like keep that one inside. Nobody wants to hear that from the person that you're with. Like, well, it's just not there for me, but I'm going to carry on. I'm going to like soldier up and like.
She would say, I would pray every day to God that I would be attracted to him. And I was like, I don't think it's supposed to be that hard. I just don't.
I don't either.
Can you imagine?
And I think that
God can't make you love that person. God can't make you a 7. You're in trouble.
Here's the thing is like, there's someone for everyone. Like just because you're not attracted to them doesn't mean like someone else wouldn't. Like maybe you're like hindering them from finding someone who's super attracted to them. Like it gets a little weird to me when people like put marriage above like, or they hold it so like tightly, the whole idea and concept that it like supersedes all these like normal human things. I don't know. This is complicated and getting very deep. Where's Dr. Pepper? We need a professional.
I need the drink. You can have the lady.
I've got my Diet Coke, so I'm good. Yeah.
That's it, Rebekah.
Wow.
That is it.
I
went way
enjoyed
too
it,
far into that.
and I'm probably going to watch a little more, but I think Love at First Sight might be better for me, which I've already seen. The stakes are a little lower when they don't have to like commit to getting like married that just kind of blows my mind. It's a lot.
It's horrific. I agree with you.
One more thing about Married at First Sight is I'm shocked it didn't originate in America. I shouldn't be because I've learned that too doing the show that like a lot of these shows like we borrow or buy from other places, but it just feels so American to me. It just doesn't feel like something they would do in like perfect Scandinavia. Sorry, did I say perfect?
No. Yeah, you definitely did. No, I agree. But I really did think it was based off of Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire. Like that kind of made sense.
That does make more sense.
Like,
like just show your motives. Like this is like, oh, you just really value marriage and want to marry someone? Like surely that can't be true.
That's not true.
Oh my gosh.
Rebekah, what are you watching? Oh, wait, before we even say that. I heard you watch Love on the Spectrum last time.
Did you think I wasn't going to mention this, Melissa?
I needed to make sure it was brought up.
Give all credit where credit is due. In fact, at the beginning of this episode, you said something about you can find love and something on the spectrum. And I'm like, but wait, we have to talk about that. Oh. You've given me a gift and I now am sharing that gift with others. It's like my favorite thing to tell people to watch and they're like, oh, okay, maybe I will. And I'm like, no, that's what I said too. It's like I'm becoming a zealot for Love on the Spectrum. Yeah. It's such a beautiful show. I posted pictures of me bawling on our Instagram stories after finishing the second season. I mean, these are couples I'm invested in. Like Married at First Sight sounds interesting, but this is like humanity at its finest. I say that purely and sincerely. It's the best show. And their families, I love all their families. Like just incredible people.
Yeah, it's incredible. And it is one whenever somebody says they'll watch it, you're like, you don't understand what I'm saying to you. You don't understand the gift I'm giving you. You have to see that.
It really is true. It's like the best thing I've watched in so long. It's so
I'm so
good.
glad.
Thank you. Everybody watch Love on the Spectrum. You won't regret it.
Double seal of approval. Yeah.
You just won't. You'll be better for it.
So Rebekah, but what garbage are you watching now?
It's not garbage. I've got a good one. Okay, 3 clues. First one is that it's not garbage. That was a giveaway, throwaway. Okay. Netflix, Pacific Northwest, Single Mom.
Oh, Maids? Is that what
it's
called?
God,
okay,
you're good.
Cool.
It's just called Maid, singular.
Okay.
But yes, you're so good. You've seen it then on your Netflix queue.
I have had somebody tell me to watch it. I just haven't made it there yet.
It's great. It's great. Yeah. It's great. It's great. It's a very dark comedy, I guess you would call it. It's about a young woman, like maybe 24, 25. She becomes a maid because she leaves a pretty abusive, not healthy, toxic relationship with the guy that she's been with since she was really young. They have a child together, and just one night she decides, can't do this anymore. And so it's really about her trying to survive in like complete poverty as a single mom. And it really shows the system and like how all these programs work and don't work, and how shelters are to create a safe place for women, but there's so many hoops you have to jump through. However, it's not like a public service announcement. It's not a documentary. It's a very entertaining show, and the actress is wonderful, and all the actors in it are wonderful, but she becomes a maid, has all these complicated relationships with the people she cleans houses for, and she's a writer. So she's this creative writer who like never got to pursue that, but she writes about her experience in everyone's homes. And she's like this amazing mom, and she's this adorable kid, and I'm just loving this show so much.
Oh, nice. Okay, I've heard people have enjoyed it, but I heard it before Squid Games was on, or whatever that's called.
Are you watching Squid Game?
I'm not watching it.
I'm not either. My whole family is.
Really? I heard that it was a little graphic, and I can't always do graphic. It gets to be a little much for me.
I have a threshold with graphic, and I also like it's like fantasy / supernatural, not supernatural, but it's like it's not my genre. I can't suspend my disbelief enough. Just like I just don't get it. Maybe I love it. I'll never know. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, I believe Faye Resnick is really friends with Kyle, so I can just suspend my disbelief a little.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I do that a little bit on The Housewives. What are you watching?
Okay, so I'm very excited about mine. I am watching, it's on 3 Clues, HBO, Siblings, Will Ferrell. He's not on it. He's a producer.
Okay.
And season 3 premieres tonight.
Okay, so there's been 2 seasons.
Clue.
Oh.
I'm wearing a shirt for it.
Is it? No. Wait,
I think you were starting.
Succession?
Yes, it is.
It is? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. People at home are like, oh, good grief. It took her too long.
You got it. You got it.
I've heard this is one I need to watch.
Rebekah, this is one of the best shows I've ever seen. It is sexy. That's not the first thing I want to sell it, but it's sexy, but it's got siblings. But
love a sexy show.
I knew I could get you in that one.
Elite, anyone?
Yeah, I know. It's elite, but siblings, but they're not doing anything. But like, I'm not attracted to any of the siblings. Well, I'm attracted to Greg, but he's a cousin. But I don't know. There's just something about it that is just mesmerizing. The theme song is just the best. And my shirt's from like the intro to the theme song. And once you hear it, you can never not hear it. It just, I watched like a behind the scenes of how they made the song. Like that's how good the music is. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's great. So season 3 premieres tonight. There's been all kinds of stuff that have happened. It's this family. The dad owns like this media empire, 4 kids.
Right up my alley.
Get it. It's so good. And you know what? I didn't watch it till last year. So I was behind on it. I didn't see the first season, whenever it came out. And normally I'm pretty good with those things. Yeah. And so I'm super obsessed. So I've been rewatching to start watching again tonight. So.
This is a good point. Like third season starting now. That's like a cool time to get into a show because there's like a lot for you to binge and watch. If you love it, there's like 2 seasons and then you can get right into the third. So I'm probably going to make that my next show. Something just came out, a new season that I was also going to say, but I'm going to save it for our next recording. That
I bet I know what it
excited
is.
About.
Yeah,
I bet you do. I thought we both were going to, yeah.
All right. I'm not watching that show if it's it.
Okay, we'll talk offline. Well, speaking of other shows, I'm going to tell you one on our next episode. Do you want clues for that?
Please, ma'am.
Okay, I thought about these and I came up with Vegas. Wait, has that been a clue before? I feel like I've definitely put like a casino in one of our posts.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
No? Okay. Las Vegas, gold, guns.
I have no idea.
Yay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I got to think about this. I'm not going to Google it because I don't think that'll just get me on a list somewhere.
Vegas Golden Guns will turn up a lot. I can't verify all of it. But it also might lead you to this. So I don't know. Google if you want. I'm excited about it.
Yay. Okay. I'm excited too. I always like whenever I don't know them because then I'm like way thrown off. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Woohoo.
Well, that was really good. Lots of marriage and relationship talk, so that was fun.
Yeah. Rebekah, you have something coming up this next week.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I have a live show in New York City. So if you live in New York or the tri-state area, please join me on Tuesday, October 26th. But I'm really mentioning it because we also have live stream tickets. So anyone listening from anywhere can also come. It's a true crime variety show. And Melissa, I've never done one of these before. I'm very excited, a little nervous. So I'm going to be doing true crime trivia. And then there's a lot of other segments and components.
Oh, I didn't know it was trivia. I thought it was the trip.
Oh, no. There's a musical parody. There's an interview with a special guest. There's prizes. There's new games. I'll just tell you one. Wheel of Misfortune. Like, it's going to be so much fun.
I'm so excited. I already have my tickets for the online version. I'm very excited.
You're the best. So yeah, just go to RebekahSebastian.com/live events. I'll put the link in the show notes, but I would love to have people join me from their homes. I think it'll be fun that there's that going on simultaneously. But if you are in New York, it's at Caveat on the Lower East Side.
Very cool. Is it when you watch, is it like a comment section sort of thing that go along with the live watch?
Idea.
Okay.
I think it's feeding through my YouTube. So probably, I think there should be a chat. We've like set it up on the back end and I feel like that's how we're doing it. But I have a tech rehearsal this week. I don't
If there is, then I'll be in there commenting, of course.
Moderate, please.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
No, just kidding. But yeah, it should be really fun. So thanks.
Yay, I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be good. What else?
I think that's it. I think we've done enough damage here.
Yeah, we always do. Follow us on social media at criminalityshow, including YouTube, where you can watch these episodes.
Yep. And we will be back in 2 weeks with Rebekah's episode. Cannot wait.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.